Hi guys, welcome to Fanan, where we entertain thoughts and creativity. Today I'm here with Ali Gheewala.
Hi guys, I'm Ali, Director at Selimpex International, an apparel manufacturing company based in Karachi, Pakistan. So I joined the company about 5 years ago in 2019 after completing my undergraduate degree from Cass Business School in London.
Okay, so now that we know a little bit about Ali, basically I'm just going to be running you through some questions,
Sure.
trying to understand your expertise, advantages, the obstacles you faced. So starting off, I just want to ask you to share the story of Selimpex.
So Selimpex was started by my grandfather in 1974. So I think we just completed our 50 years. So it started off as a very small unit, a rented unit, in which we used to manufacture some flannel shirts and actually export them to Ireland, where my uncle had finished his undergraduate degree and was working there. So my grandfather saw a small market, a gap in the market, so actually produce here and then send it over to Ireland, where my uncle would go to shop to shop and try and sell that. And I think over the years, gradually after my father joined the company, my uncle joined the company, we've grown it to alhamdulillah a good scale right now. We're producing about 1 million pieces a month.
Your grandfather, as you said, started this company 50 years ago. What were the founding values exactly at that point?
So I think the founding values we had back then, we still have them instilled in the company today. And the biggest one for us is business ethics.
Okay.
So I think for us, most important is being a good buyer, a good seller, and most importantly, a fair employer.
Okay.
That's one of our competitive advantages as well, because I think our goodwill speaks a lot for us, and that is also one of the biggest marketing gimmicks for us, because when we buy from our suppliers or sell to our buyers or employ new people, people know that they are investing and trusting in a very reliable company.
So essentially what you do is you're a good employer, your business ethics are very strong, and you guys have stayed strong through 50 years because of one of these very strong pillars.
I think it's very important. We never want to cheat anyone. May it be someone who is just supplying to us, one of our customers or employers, because we feel that's a very uneasy environment to work in. We decide whether it's something that is ethically okay for us.
Amazing.
And that's a big factor in our decision making.
Amazing.
And like I told you before, having that relationship, that trust is very important for us. I'm sure there are much bigger companies out there in the same industry, working with the same suppliers or marketing to them. But I think why our customers choose us is because they know that they can rely on us. They know that we will have their back any day of the week. Any problem encountered, we will be their first stop.
How have you modernized the business since you came into power?
So before I joined the company, actually I had a sit down with my dad, with my uncles, in which they explained to me actually how we've survived for so many years, sustained the business, and a lot of that also has to do with strong family values. So being in a family business is not the easiest things, because of course you have the relationship as a son, as a father, as an uncle, a nephew. So having that level of respect for their point of views, for their understanding, and also understanding their seniority in the company and being okay with that and accepting that is also very important, because of course everyone comes up with their own point of view, their own thinking, their way of doing things.
Yeah.
So I think understanding and again accepting the fact that people who have been in the business with more experience, more expertise, who are your seniors, and we also have a strong rule of not taking business home. So from 9 to 5, it's completely business. We have a business relationship, and after we come home, we leave business at the office and come back and have the family life again.
Amazing. And how do you feel like when you're respecting and accepting the seniority, how do you bring in the modern feature of this? Because I know that you are coming from a different generation and you must have so many ideas that you've learned in university, in real life, that you want to implement. How do you kind of balance that?
So honestly, I've been very lucky that way. My father, my uncle, they've been very open to suggestions, to advice. to what I may think, or my brother and my cousin who recently joined the company, what they may have to say. And also, they've allowed me to make changes in the company which I may feel are beneficial for the company. So, personally, I would say I don't feel like I'm stuck in a place where I just have to follow rules and regulations which others have set for me.
Yeah.
And it's a very open platform, and I think it's a very, very healthy environment for me to work.
So there is that level of flexibility.
Definitely, yeah.
And in this level of flexibility, when your production is going through, how do you manage cost effectiveness, the quality, and even the sustainability of your production?
One of the reasons why textile and especially apparel manufacturing was so big in Pakistan was because of our competitive advantage of having cheap labor.
Okay.
But over the years, labor costs have gone up, electricity costs have gone up, gas supplies are low, cost is up. So it is a very difficult landscape to work in. Also, exporters today don't have the same luxury in terms of subsidies or tax brackets and other stuff relating to that. So we really had to, move around things to make sure that we are competitive in this industry. So when you speak about cost effectiveness and sustainability, I think, and also quality, I think they go hand in hand also. I think the first step was to invest in the latest technology that helped us to cut cost, to rely less on labor, not 100%, but of course reduce as much as possible.
Of course.
And again, the more technology is advancing, it's becoming more sustainable day by day.
Okay.
So I think it's a package altogether which has really helped us cut our costs down, be competitive, and also move towards sustainability. Like recently, we have installed solar power into our factories to help the electricity cost and also reduce the impact. Help us reduce our water consumption by 50%, our gas consumption by 50%, and also our chemical consumption by 50%.
Oh, wow.
In addition, we are setting up an ETP, environmental treatment plant, that will help us retreat the water that we're using. So again, using less water, being more eco-friendly. Exactly.
And this quality and this sustainability, as you said, it moves hand in hand. So essentially, technology is what's giving you that edge.
Definitely. So it is an initial cost, a high cost that we have to invest, but I think over the years,
it'll serve you better.
It serves us better.
Yeah.
It serves us better in terms of quality. So of course, the better the technology, the better the quality.
Now that you're investing a lot of funds in technology, in your power plants, in your solar energy, you are essentially thinking, okay, this is the cost right now, but this technology is helping us 5 to 10 years later even.
I think it's helping us today also because like I told you, with the rising cost and everything, it is imperative for us to make sure that we're up to date with the latest technology and adapting to it, because to stay competitive, to beat a competitor.
And the ETP, as you said, what does that stand for again?
Environmental treatment plant.
So that's where you cure the water that you've been using as well. Yeah, I actually want to go further into the whole success story of Selimpex. And I want to ask you what pivotal point or pivotal decision actually curved around that success of Selimpex.
In the 1990s, we started off as a woven manufacturing unit. So the jeans, the trousers, and everything. So one of our customers once ordered, had an order for leggings, which was not in our ballpark, which we didn't usually do. But we decided to take on that order, have a little small setup to cater to that. And gradually, once we did that order, started maybe marketing ourselves a little bit, which actually grew on to be a big business for us. And today, the next section of our business is about 50% of our total sales. Wow. So I think the decision to do that order and take that risk was maybe one of our most pivotal decisions.
And even though that wasn't your line of work, you guys still catered to the client essentially first. And that actually ended up being beneficial. That risk was very beneficial.
Exactly.
Which is amazing. So I think what we take away from this is that you should make these risks every now and
then. Calculated risks, yes.
Calculated risks. Moving forward, I want to know the strategies that you have implemented that have kind of helped sustain your success in a very competitive and globalized market.
So we've always adapted a cluster-based philosophy. Which is trying to maximize each part of our supply chain expertise, which really helps us to focus on our expertise, which is the garment manufacturing, and let our partners source the best of the raw materials and accessories and whatever else is linked to this industry, which again helps us to get the best products, the materials at the lowest possible price, which again helps us to be competitive in the market, offer our customers whatever is the latest innovation in terms of maybe styles, design, fabrics, whatever new developments they are, so that we are constantly up to date with the market. We also focus a lot on the market research. So I personally, along with my team, we travel. We have it's a couple of design studios that we work with in Europe also, which keep feeding us with new information about trends, strategies, which we are very fast in adapting and also presenting to our customers to make sure that we stay up to date with whatever is happening in the current fashion world.
So essentially, to wrap that up, the supply chain, you break it down and get the best of all worlds.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, you stay ahead of time with taking in market research and like kind of working through the trends and just working around a lot of things so that you stay updated.
Exactly.
That's what the strategy is. That's actually very interesting because I've noticed a lot of very successful textile industries that don't really give you a very different product throughout the years. You know, like they'll just be focused on one thing and they will specialize in that. But the market research, I feel like that's what helps Selimpex's success, that you stay updated.
We also like to build relationships with our customers so that we're able to actually translate what they actually want. What they're looking for.
Okay, so the consumer's wants are one of the strategies that you focus on.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Similarly, to be more competitive, we've actively been working on Industry 4.0, which is the integration of digital intelligence into the manufacturing process, which again helps us to have shorter lead times, better quality products, and cheaper products, so that we're more competitive with our competitors in other countries.
Amazing. They're now bringing in AI into this.
Exactly.
Yeah, to understand market trends, to understand and even bring down your cost of production, which would keep you competitive throughout. Wow, that is actually amazing. And what does your leadership style bring to the company? What has it contributed, do you think?
My grandfather, my father, my uncle, when they were working, they started working at a very small scale. So I think it was a lot to do with micromanagement. Since I've come in, I think for me to lead better and to be more efficient, I have a policy of delegating a lot. So that of course we have more people in the company who have more responsibility, and also gives me time to focus on the bigger picture, to focus on how we can be more efficient, we can have better quality, how we can be more sustainable. So I also try to have a lot of conversations and understand from the employees what may be going wrong, what maybe we could do better, because of course they are working up on the operation, they're working first hand, so I may be looking at the bigger picture, but I may be ignoring what's happening on a more micro level. So I think that helped me identify smaller issues in the company and of course tackle them better and more quickly.
Every factor has their own like respective, delegate, and then you keep conferring with them to stay connected to the middle.
Of course, it still involves me micromanaging. It doesn't mean that I'm completely out of the picture in that sense, but I think adapting technology, going towards Industry 4.0, using data has really helped me do that, because I'm able to analyze our company better, I'm able to analyze our operations better.
Getting into the darker side of things, have there been any setbacks that have ultimately just made the company stronger?
So I don't think there's anything in particular that I can point out to, but in this industry there are a lot of variables, especially in the manufacturing sector. So every day is a day of firefighting. There's a new problem, a new task that needs to be solved. So I think there are a lot of things that we do learn on a daily basis, and I feel that learning from your mistakes is the best kind of teaching that you could always get. So I think, like I told you, we have a strategic partner, so working with them, understanding what is the right fit for us, what is not the right fit for us, even on the customer end, what type of customers suit our style that we will be more compatible working with. So I think along the way there have been many instances that we've may it be small or big that we've learned from, and maybe molded ourselves in a way that we're actually more compatible to a more diverse selection of partners. And yeah, like I said, I think every day for us is like
every
a
new
learning day.
obstacle,
100%.
a learning curve essentially.
100%.
Yeah. So going deeper into that, when you look at an everyday basis while running a company, do you think there are any economic downturns, especially operating in Pakistan, economic downturns or a supply chain crisis that you encounter every now and then?
100%. So one of the reasons we do have the cluster-based philosophy is so that we have our options open.
Okay.
Especially in the supply side, we have different partners, different suppliers, different vendors we work with, so that we make sure we can avoid the supply chain crisis as much as possible. But of course, it's part of the game. It's not something that we can 100% avoid.
When it's coming down to the supply chain crisis, you keep your options open. And with economic downturns, you take it as it comes, essentially.
So, build ourselves in such a way that we're more flexible towards the more busy seasons, and also make sure that we're not losing any money or having very high overheads in the seasons where the production quantity is lower.
Yeah.
So I think that's how we've tried to manage.
So you capitalize on very good times so that for normal times you kind of have that buffer.
Exactly. We have the flexibility during our production so that we can cater to both the highs and the lows.
Amazing. So essentially that's what makes you strong, I think, because when you're capitalizing at a time where you know there's the economic situation is up there, so that'll help you kind of navigate throughout the year, even at times when there are lows.
Correct. Different countries in different continents, so that if there's an economic downshift in maybe one part of the world, we still have a business going from the other.
So essentially, don't put your eggs all in one basket. Never. You have to have like a little bit of like a maneuver situation where if one situation isn't working out, if one part of Europe is going down, you can always go towards the other part.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Always keep your options open. That's what'll keep you up and coming, essentially. Hopefully, yeah. What part in your journey, your whole journey, has made you feel the proudest or made you feel very self-validated within yourself?
I'm glad you touched upon that, actually. Working in your own business, I think there are very few times that you can actually look back or have other people tell you how you're doing, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, or whether you're doing a good job or not. I think last year when I was actually on vacation with my wife, of course, when I'm out, my dad kind of, helps take over my responsibilities in the business so that we were not losing anything. And I remember getting a text from him saying that, I really miss you and I hope you were here because things are very, different with you. So I think that was a very big validation for me, a proud moment for me, because I think when you're grinding it out, giving it all, and of course, especially in a family business, I mean, you're not working for anyone, so there's no promotion or appreciation in that sense. But I think that was a big point in my career, which really motivated me to do more and to also realize that what I'm doing is actually I'm doing a good job and I'm being valued for it.
The family business version of a promotion, that pat on the back where he's just like, I miss you in a company that you just joined, not so many years ago, because you are such a value-added person.
They say a mother's love you will always have, but a father's respect you will always have to earn. So I think that was one of those moments.
Amazing. So it was like a kind of check mark in your life. For people either getting into their own family business, ready to take over, or for people even starting up their new businesses, what advice or what little piece of advice would you give them to kind of help them in their growth, in their business?
A strong work ethic is something that is vital to run any business.
Okay.
So work hard, grind it out.
Yeah.
Of course, work-life balance is also important.
Okay.
But I think in your early years, have a clear vision where you want to be, what you want to do. Success and failure is all part of the game. There's no stopping you. But I think work hard, be honest, be ethical, and I think success just carries
Rolls
itself
in,
from.
yeah.
For any business owner, I don't think there are any working hours. Even
Okay.
for me, I would say that there's no time that I have fixed that I'm gonna maybe get to work or leave work. So I think when you run your own business, when the profit is yours but the loss is also yours,
Yeah.
you have to give it the time it requires and it needs. Maybe 12 hours someday, or maybe even 4 hours someday.
Okay.
So I think you have to be true to your business, true to yourself, and just work hard.
And so essentially that 9 to 5 can turn into a 9 to 6, 9 to 7.
Usually it's a 97.
Usually it's a 97, and then with the work-life balancing, with family, with the work, I'm sure it's like...
I mean, it gets tough at times, but I do have an understanding wife, so it's easier that way.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's pretty cool. And I think that's what kind of gives you that motivation even to work harder.
I'm lucky that way.
You're lucky that way. Alhamdulillah. For people who actually want to get a better sense of how to run a business, you can take advice from this question that we just asked about how you have to balance your work ethic, you have to balance the motivation, you have to also balance work life, and essentially all about balance, all about working hard. So actually, I just want to get into a little casual part of things. What does Selimpex even stand for?
So I think my grandfather came up with the name, and I
Okay.
think it's divided into 3 parts, which is sell for selling,
Yeah.
imp for import,
Okay.
and X for export. So it's like sell, import, export.
So I'm just gonna quickly ask you a very personal kind of question. So I'm pretty sure when you were getting into this, it must have been like there were a lot of things that you have now learned to handle, but back then you weren't really sure how to handle them. Like, Ali, I'm sending you 8 years back, okay? I'm sending you 8 years back, whatever age you are right now, you're 8 years younger, and you get off that time machine and you see Ali, 8 years younger. What advice would you give him? What would you speak to him about?
So I think being the eldest grandson from the paternal side of my family, I always felt like I had too much responsibility on my shoulders.
Okay.
Of course, one day taking over the business, being a good role model for the younger ones. So I think I would maybe tell myself stress less, enjoy more, and I think life takes its course. So I think that's something we can't disturb or influence. Of
Okay.
course, we can work hard, give our part. I mean, but I think
essentially what's written for you, it'll come in the way that it has to.
Exactly.
I mean, like, don't stress, bro.
Exactly.
Chill out,
100%.
Have a nice cup of coffee with him, maybe. So that's amazing. That's great to see that that's the advice you would give yourself. And it's very nice to see that now you have kind of learned through all these years that whatever happens will happen. You just have to give it your best.
Exactly.
That is amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Ali, for being on Fanan.
Of course.
Thank you so much for influencing people. For anyone who kind of wanted to take any advice for starting their own business, for taking over another business, this is where you come. I feel like Ali has given us some great points, touch base upon some very important factors. And thank you for watching.
Thank you, Lise, for giving me the opportunity to have a chat with you. I had a
Of course,
great
the
time.
pleasure was literally all mine.
And hopefully look forward to doing it again soon.